A long time ago, a powerful ruler named Alexander the Great is said to have sat inside a glass barrel and lowered himself into the sea just to see what was below. Imagine that for a moment, a human inside a fragile glass container surrounded by deep water. Now jump to today. Huge nuclear submarines travel silently under the ocean for months without coming up. They carry powerful weapons and can stay hidden anywhere in the world. So, how did we go from a simple glass barrel to some of the most advanced and dangerous machines ever built? This is the story of submarines. Humans have always been curious about the ocean. For centuries, people wondered if it was possible to go underwater and survive. One of the earliest ideas came from Leonardo da Vinci in the 1490s. He designed something similar to a submarine, but he never built it. Why? Because he believed such a machine could be used for war and destruction. He feared people would use it to secretly attack ships, so he kept his design hidden. He was right to worry. By the early 1600s, a Dutch inventor named Cornelius Drebbel created the first working submarine. It was very simple. It was basically a wooden rowboat covered in leather to keep water out. Drebbel even tested his submarine in the River Thames in England. He took King James I with him underwater. That must have been an incredible and scary experience. But even though it worked, the submarine had many problems. It was slow, weak, and not very useful for war. Many people at that time thought submarines were strange and even dishonorable. Naval forces ignored them. Things started to change during the American Revolution in the late 1700s. A small submarine called the Turtle was built. It was powered by a single person turning a hand crank inside. The goal was to attach explosives to British ships, but the mission failed. The operator could not successfully damage the ship. The submarine was hard to control, slow, and very tiring to operate. This showed a big problem. Human power was not enough. Submarines needed better engines. For many years, engineers tried different ways to power submarines. Some tried steam engines, like the ones used in trains. But steam engines needed fire, and fire used up oxygen quickly. Inside a closed submarine, this was very dangerous. The crew could suffocate. Others tried petrol engines, but they had their own problems. Petrol created harmful and explosive fumes. One small spark could destroy the entire submarine. So engineers needed a safer and more efficient solution. A major step forward came in 1888. A Spanish engineer named Isaac Peral built one of the first fully electric submarines. It used batteries instead of fire or fuel. This made it safer and quieter. But batteries had limits. They could not last very long. Then came a very important inventor named John Philip Holland. He introduced a new idea, a hybrid system. His submarines used a fuel engine when on the surface and switched to electric batteries when underwater. This solved many problems. On the surface, the submarine could recharge its batteries. Underwater, it could move quietly and safely. This system became the standard design for submarines for many years. There is also an interesting story connected to Holland. One of his early submarines, called the Fenian Ram, was funded by Irish revolutionaries. They wanted to use it against the British, but later they stole the submarine after a disagreement. Having a working submarine was not enough, it also needed weapons. In 1866, an engineer named Robert Whitehead invented the first self-propelled torpedo. This changed everything. Before this, submarines had to get very close to enemy ships. That was risky and difficult. Now submarines could attack from a distance. The torpedo used compressed air to move through water and hit targets with great force. Suddenly, submarines were no longer strange machines. They became real threats. Here is something surprising. For a long time, submarines were not really underwater ships. They spent most of their time on the surface like normal boats. They only went underwater for short periods. Why? Because early batteries did not last long. Also, diving and rising took time. It was not quick or easy. And the engines were still dangerous. Petrol fumes inside the submarine could explode at any moment. So the crew always lived with fear. Submarines were useful but still not perfect. During World War I and World War II, submarines became more important. Germany used submarines called U-boats to attack enemy ships. They tried to cut off supply lines. But even then, most submarines still had limitations. The real change came near the end of World War II. German engineers developed the Type 21 submarine. It was designed to stay underwater for longer periods. It had better batteries, faster underwater speed, and improved design. This was closer to what we think of as a modern submarine. The biggest breakthrough came in 1955. The United States launched the USS Nautilus, the first nuclear-powered submarine. This changed everything. Nuclear power does not need air. It produces energy from atomic reactions. This meant submarines no longer needed to come to the surface to refuel or get oxygen for engines. They could stay underwater for months. This gave them a huge advantage. They became nearly invisible. They could travel long distances without being detected. During the Cold War, this made submarines one of the most powerful weapons in the world. They could carry nuclear missiles and strike from anywhere. This created a balance of fear between nations known as mutually assured destruction. Today, submarines are extremely advanced. They are quite fast and packed with technology. They use sonar to detect objects underwater. They have advanced navigation systems. Some can launch missiles from deep underwater. Others are used for research and exploration. There are even submarines that can go to the deepest parts of the ocean. Now, a new change is happening. Navies are starting to use unmanned underwater vehicles. These are robotic submarines with no human crew. They can explore, spy, and even carry out missions without risking human lives. They can stay underwater for long periods and operate silently. Technology is moving toward automation and artificial intelligence. The future of underwater warfare and exploration may not even need human insight. From a simple glass barrel to powerful nuclear submarines, the journey has been incredible. At first, submarines were just ideas, then they became experiments. Later, they turned into weapons. And today, they are some of the most advanced machines ever built. This story shows how human curiosity and innovation can transform even the wildest ideas into reality. But it also reminds us of something important. Technology can be used for both exploration and destruction. The same machines that helped us understand the ocean can also be used in war. So the real question is not just how far we can go, but how wisely we choose to use what we create.